Do you have a favourite accent?
Yes, I do. Antonio Banderas' accent, but only when he's playing Puss in Boots.
Fear me if you dare.
Accents are a lot like political opinions, in that most people have them, a lot of them are terrible, and some are completely incomprehensible. Perhaps no one's accent though has caused more confusion and bafflement than actor Richard Madden, whose Scottish brogue made a bunch of people think he was actually having sex with his own mother.
People might not know him by name, so who is Richard Madden?
Well, they're going to not know his name, but they are going to know his face, because he is most famous for playing Robb Stark on Game of Thrones.
You think my father's going to negotiate with you? You don't know him very well.
No, but he's starting to know me.
You said he has a Scottish accent.
Yes, but not on Game of Thrones, because obviously on Game of Thrones he's playing the son of the most Yorkshire man in the entire world. And we've discussed before that all of the people playing Sean Bean, Ned Stark's children, had to learn how to emulate his accent with varying degrees of success. Kit Harington probably being the most successful. But like all the other people doing that, Richard Madden went away and watched a lot of Sean Bean films to better, learn to emulate his accent, which I think was probably an exercise in futility, given how many of those films Sean Bean dies halfway through. Sean Bean dies that much, I'm surprised he doesn't die in the adverts that he's in. So a dream of mine has always been to get Sean Bean to narrate an audiobook and then halfway through just have him replaced by another actor and never explain it.
So getting back to Richard Madden,
Yes.
Which TV show are we talking about here?
It's a 2018 crime drama called Bodyguard, in which Madden played the titular protector of bodies, and he was allowed to use his native Scottish accent for the role.
So what are you doing now?
Police?
Doing what?
Specialist protection.
So what has Madden being Scottish and appearing as a bodyguard in a TV show got to do with, as you put it in the original article, implied mom sex?
It has everything to do with it, Brad. Also, good luck getting that motherfucker past YouTube's algorithm.
I'll just pass this one off to Nisha. Just make her do it.
So, figure out a way to word the phrase implied mom sex in a way where YouTube won't immediately demonetize it. That should be like the final test, shouldn't it? They should ask that when you try and make a YouTube channel. Like, they shouldn't say, like, oh, are you over 18? Is this content yours? They should just say, can you skirt around the algorithm, like, competently enough to, like, make it on this platform? Otherwise, you're fucked.
Are you implying there should be, also be a YouTube Olympics, and everyone who uploads videos has to go through various stages of, the best clickbait?
Yeah.
The best circles on thumbnails.
Best
with
apology
arrows.
for accidental racism, that sort of thing, yeah. A more comprehensive explanation for why Madden's role as a bodyguard and a Scottish accent working in tandem resulted in some implied mum sex is because, to play the titular protector of bodies on the show, Madden, in addition to having to wear an increasingly series of baller-looking suits, had to learn a bunch of industry jargon.
So what kind of jargon did he have to learn?
Well, one of the most obvious that people may have noticed is that in the show, all the bodyguards constantly refer to the person they're protecting as their principal, which is that's the standard industry insider term for bodyguards to refer to the person they're protecting. Also, he constantly refers to all of his female superiors as ma'am or ma'am, or, in his accent, mom.
Yes, Mum. Can't say for certain, Mum. That's right, Mum. You have to tuck it under your jacket, Mum. Morning, Mum. Very good, Mum. Sorry, Mum. As you wish, Mum. Rest assured, Mum.
As an aside, is there a correct way to pronounce mom?
I'm not 100% sure, but the one thing that pops into mind is an interview with, I recall, from some guy who introduced people to the Queen. That dude who has to go and prep everyone like they're going to meet the Queen. And he gets really annoyed when people pronounce it ma'am, because it's just ma'am, according to him, which is really bad for me with my northern accent, because that also results in implied mum sex. Because I'm just going, all right, ma'am, how's it going? I've heard it both ways, and I've also heard people argue that it shouldn't be pronounced both ways. It's a weird thing,
yeah.
Despite it being one of the least used words I've ever fucking heard. I have never used that word in my entire life, except for in this video just now, so I don't really care. But apparently a lot of people do, and it's very important, especially for addressing people like the Queen, royalty, or if you work as a bodyguard and you want to refer to your female principal in the most polite manner possible.
So you've already said that Madden pronounces it mom.
Yeah, I can see the dots starting to connect in your head. And you guys at home, well done you for already predicting where this is going to go. So I should point out before, you make your assumptions, that this TV show was originally a series exclusive to the BBC and therefore aired exclusively in the United Kingdom, where most people are aware of, one, what a Scottish accent is, and two, the word man. So it didn't cause a lot of confusion with British people. However, when the show got booted over to Netflix, Americans watching it got all kinds of confused because they didn't know what the fuck a Scottish accent was or anything about the word man.
Apparently American viewers have some confusion over Richard Madden's character and his relationship with you.
Yes, because of his fabulous Scottish accent. He actually calls me Mum.
And Americans watching you are aware of both of those things. I'm not talking about you. It's a generalisation of your countrymen. I'm very sorry about it. God, we get it all the time, don't we? It's like, because this is like an observable phenomenon where there's like documented examples of it happening across the United States. And that's why we're talking about it. And then one person go, I didn't read it like that. I understood. It's like, well done fucking you. Obviously, we're not talking about you. You're special. Congratulations. As an aside, because I find this quite funny, like, I missed this show when it aired on terrestrial TV, and I only caught it on Netflix recently. And I read up on it and found out like, this show caused a huge argument online because people were watching it obviously one episode at a time, and I think like Radio Times or something like that announced that a character had died the day after the episode aired, and people who'd obviously missed it and wanted to watch it later that day or like, on iPlayer or some shit went into work and just saw like the character just dead on the front cover of a magazine at work. Like, what am I supposed to do? Oh man, I feel so bad. As we're recording this, Game of Thrones just came out, and I made the mistake of I'll watch the episode in the morning after a good sleep. And I did my morning ritual of having a shit and checking Twitter. I went, oh no, people just posted screenshots of the episode. No! So immediately I was like, what am I supposed to do? Not even my toilet's safe from spoilers. I can't even take a shit in peace without someone telling me what's happening. To get back on topic, and for people who may not have seen the show, the fact that Madden refers to a lot of his female superiors as mom, at least to Americans listening to it, wasn't that big a deal right up until the third episode of the show when, spoilers, Madden and his co-star Keely Hawes start having sex. A lot.
So was this just a momentary misunderstanding, or did people genuinely come out of the episode thinking he was having sex with his mum?
Yeah, people thought that was the twist. And they were like, you could find some of the tweets that are from people who watched the show, thinking, wow, what an amazing twist, he's actually fucking his own mum. And the part about this that really gets me is that Keely Hawes, like Richard Madden's co-star, is only like 12 years older than he is, and people were watching it going, yeah, she's believable as the mum of a 30-year-old. And I'm like, oh, that's so fucking harsh. So she's not that much older than he is, and everyone's like, yeah, that's believable as that guy's fucking mum. And obviously it's a small minority of Americans watching the show assumed this, but it's still enough people where the news reported on it, and therefore it entered my peripheral while researching shit for articles. And holy crap, is that an amazing thing to have happened. That people watched it and thought, oh, that's a cool thing, he's protecting his mum. What an interesting twist for a TV show. Oh my god. This is just like scene after scene of Richard Madden just prowling and crawling balls deep into his own mother. It's like, really? At least put on subtitles so you can see the word man. And the thing is as well, I tested the waters on this one before writing this article, and I tweeted out like a little clip of this show. And I got quite a few responses saying I genuinely thought he was saying mom until I read the tweet.
Thank you, Mum. Thank you, Mum. Thank you, Mum. Thank you, Mum. Mum.
So what I'd like to do now, very quickly, is have a quick straw poll in the comments, because according to our analytics, a lot of people watching these videos are from America. So, Americans watching, answer honestly, did you think Richard Madden was saying the word mom? I am really curious about how many people respond saying yes, because when I heard about this before I watched the series, and I watched it and it ended up being quite good. So go watch it if you've got Netflix. And I went, oh man, I can see why people thought this. And also I can see why it got super uncomfortable. One thing we've not actually talked about yet though, Brad, in a video centering entirely around fuckable mums, is the pantheon of fuckable mums in fiction. Because that's a weirdly specific trope that comes up a lot, isn't it? And I don't like, even though it doesn't happen in the show, I think, just for the hassle the actress got, she should be allowed to stand alongside Stacy's mum and Stifler's mum as one of, like, fiction's most fuckable mums. Because she fucking deserves it after all that hassle. Bloody hell, man.
Stifler's mum, I think, has to be like the height of MILFdom.
Yeah, if like, she is the one who just sat on the Shao Kahn throne, observing all the lesser MILFs, just doling out advice and like orders to them. And like her second in command is just Stacy's mum. And she's constantly just on the big inflatable Lilo all the time. Oh, man. I think as well, That's probably one of my favourite recurring jokes from a film. Like the idea that Stifler's mum is just like the hottest woman in the universe. And I re-watched one of the American Pies recently, I think the second one. And they go into like Stifler's mum's room, and there's a picture of her on the wall, facing her own bed of her just like that. And I thought to myself, I want that on my wall because that's so amazing. It's like, it's Jennifer Coolidge who plays her, isn't it?
I think so.
She's such a fantastic fucking actress, and I love her character arc as well. That like the canonical ending to that series is that she starts fucking Jim's dad. You must have watched American Pie, correct?
Of course, yeah.
And like, obviously, it's Eugene Levy's in all those movies. But have you ever watched any of the really terrible?
I've watched all of them.
Oh, you've watched all. Okay, so people at home who don't know, the American Pie series had a lot of spin-offs that were all terrible and starred none of the original cast, save for Eugene Levy. And in the mainline films of the American Pie cinematic universe, like Eugene Levy is just Jim's dad.
Yeah.
But in like the spin-offs, like Bandcamp and The Naked Mile, it turns out he's just like this god of sex. Like it turns out the backstory is like he had sex with so many women, and then Jim's mum dies off screen.
Yeah,
so in the mainline film he's just a widower, but off screen he's always getting his fuck on with everybody.
Well, in Bandcamp, it's vaguely believable because they just make him in charge of Bandcamp.
Yes.
But then Naked Mile comes around. He started the Naked Mile.
Yeah.
And then the next one comes around with Beta House, which had the competition, like the Olympic competition, and he started that and was the champion.
Yeah, it's like this. Like in that universe, Jim's dad is this like mythical college hero who just fucked all the chicks and drank all the beer.
But the best one is that he wrote the Book of Love.
Of course he did.
Yeah, the book that they find in the first.
He literally wrote the book on sex. I think American Reunion might be one of my like favourite bad movies because it like every single thing that's ever been mentioned in one of those American Pie movies is referenced and then has a satisfying conclusion. And I think like before they made it, they said, look, the only way we'd ever make this movie is if we got every single original actor to agree to reprise their role. And that's why it took so long to make, because I think a couple of the actors are like, I don't want to be in these stupid movies anymore. And I love that movie so fucking much because it has the greatest payoff to a joke in cinema. Which is when, after all the movies revolving around the fact Finch fucks Stifler's mum, Finch's mum turns up and Stifler fucks her.
And then the two guys appear in the stands and
they do the mill
Mill.
thing again. It's the ultimate, just full circle. It's almost like Baroque in its creation. Just, it's so beautiful.
And the Sean William Scott's face
Yeah.
when he realises it's happening and he gets so fucking hyped.
I love that guy. Like he owns that role.